right, welcome everyone. We're excited to bring another addition to our segment on student spotlights. Today I get the opportunity to interview a wonderful student, Caroline Hyland. Caroline, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Caroline. I am a senior, soon to be graduate of the computer science department. I'm originally from Phoenix.
All right, great. Thanks, Caroline. We're excited. I'm excited to get a chance to interview because I've been in this department for about 3-4 years, and I've had an opportunity to work with you plenty. So I'm excited to get a chance to interview you today. So tell us, why did you decide to attend the University of Arizona? You're from Phoenix. Why not attend the institution that's to the north of us?
Well, we don't talk about that place at home. I am a third generation U of A Wildcat. My parents went here, my grandparents went here. If you ask my great aunt, she could give you a much longer family lineage than I could ever memorize of people who went to U of A, complete with pictures. So I've been coming down to U of A football and basketball games since I was a little kid. Um, During high school, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go in-state or out of state for college. And it wasn't until I received the Flynn Scholarship that I really decided to stay in-state for my education. After that, it wasn't really a difficult decision for me. I am not built to go to class in the snow, so NIU was already just a non-starter for me. And I just love the campus community and the environment here at U of A, so it was the best choice for me.
Those do sound like some wonderful reasons for coming in the long tradition of having your family be all Wildcats. It's great. So you had a whole bunch of choices when you came to the University of Arizona. Why did you pursue computer science as your major?
So I first took a mandatory computer science class in high school, and I expected to hate it and to be terrible at it. When I started it, we had to download a software on the first day, and I couldn't get it to download properly. And I thought that was going to be like the omen of death. And if I couldn't download it correctly, then there was no way I would pass this class. But I ended up really loving it and taking a few more classes in high school. And eventually I applied to U of A originally in bioinformatics. And then I called the university during my spring semester, my senior year of high school, and asked to switch to be a double major in computer science and bioinformatics. A large part of my degree path has changed over the 4 years. The only part that has not changed at all is the computer science major.
That's great. So bioinformatics originally, computer science now. What have you enjoyed during this whole time that you've been here at the U of A, specifically in computer science? What's a memorable experience? What have you enjoyed most?
Picking a single thing I've enjoyed most is definitely not easy. I would probably say my time as an undergraduate teaching assistant in the department. It is definitely one of my favorite activities I've been able to do. And I've done it 7 times now. I'm not sure if that counts as a single thing since I've done it that many times, but I met most of my best friends in computer science through the undergraduate teaching program. There were other TAs, either for my class or for different classes. And I really got to develop as a person and a student. And it's a large part, I think, of why I want to work as a professor in the future.
That's wonderful. That kind of answers the next question that I had for you is what are your career goals? You mentioned being a professor. Are you looking to be a professor in computer science or in another field?
Yes, computer science. So I am planning to pursue a PhD in natural language processing here at the University of Arizona, and then I want to work as a professor of computer science.
That's wonderful. What do you particularly what makes you want to pursue that particular career? Why be a professor of computer science?
I've always really loved teaching. I've worked as a teaching assistant in some capacity since high school, and I was a tutor before that. For me, computer science is just such an interesting field because it's at the intersection of pretty much everything we do on a daily basis. Almost every other discipline in some way connects to or incorporates computer science as a part of their work as well, whether it's biotechnology, in the life sciences, or digital media. animation, CGI in the arts. Um, I could go on and on. I studied computer science education in Spanish-speaking countries for my Spanish major. So computer science has these huge global impact and like different reaches in all the different disciplines. So I think that having a solid education in computer science can really help you in any field you want to pursue. And there's so many different students who are interested in computer science that I really have enjoyed being their teaching assistant the last 7 semesters I've done it. And I would love to be a professor and be able to keep working with students like that full time.
That's great to have that passion to teach others. I think it's very commendable and a rewarding experience. So you've done TA, you've also done some research while here at the University of Arizona. Can you tell us about your research experience and how did you get that research position and what did you enjoy most about doing research?
So I've actually been able to work in a few different labs during my undergrad. I've worked with Dr. Niadi and Dr. Kesasioglu in the past, and I'm currently working with Dr. Serdianu for natural language processing. And that project I got involved with after meeting with Dr. Serdianu and Dr. Blanco and going over the different research opportunities that they were involved with and the projects they're currently working on. And that was all at the suggestion of Dr. Lowenthal when I was talking to him about my graduate school applications and the fact that I was interested in pursuing natural language processing. He encouraged me to switch my thesis topic for my honors thesis and do as much work in natural language processing as I could during my undergrad to get more foundation for grad school and make sure that I knew what I wanted to do. And I've really enjoyed this research project. So I'm really excited to be able to come back and keep working on it in a year. My favorite part has probably just being able to see like the entire production pipeline for a project because we're currently working on all different parts of the project at the same time. So we're constantly annotating new parts of the data set. We're also testing and implementing new approaches to solve our specific task and different ways we can extend it, different like side projects, tangents that branch off of it to do different things, and then testing, evaluating them, and going back and seeing what we can change. So being able to be involved in all different parts of the project pipeline at once is a really unique experience that I've enjoyed.
That's great. The collaboration with multiple people working towards a goal or a name is a wonderful experience. What opportunities or challenges did you have while doing some research?
I think the greatest challenge for me is I came into the lab as a senior. So I got started right away. I had plenty of, in general, programming knowledge, but I didn't have very much technical knowledge in natural language processing or with large language models. And that's what our lab is primarily working with. So I came in and was immediately working on changing the training for a large language model, but I didn't have any foundational knowledge as to how large language models were trained. So I was trying to read research articles and sort of teach myself how the training was happening behind the scenes and what the theoretical foundations were for the models that I was working with so that I could understand better how to work with them. But I've actually been working in this lab the same time that I've been taking a text retrieval and web search course with Dr. Serdianu. So as we've gotten to topics that are related to my research or to the projects we're doing in the lab, or that use the same language models and discuss them, the more I've gotten a theoretical understanding from that class, the easier it's been to apply what I'm doing in the lab and to understand why I was making the decisions I was making. Because at first I was making them because I could see that the results were improving with certain types of training or certain things that I was doing. But the more I understood the theory behind it, the better I knew why those decisions were working and the easier it was to make better decisions from the start.
Sounds like you learned a lot from those challenges and experiences and are able to implement it you will be able to implement it in your future PhD career. That's great. So tell us a little bit more about your TA experience. You mentioned you've been doing it for 7 semesters at different times, and you're also a course coordinator. tell us, why did you want to do that? I mean, you kind of alluded to your future career and wanting to teach, but why specifically did you want to become a TA and a course coordinator?
So I was a teaching assistant in biology all through high school, and then a paid teaching assistant for summer biology courses at my high school after I graduated. Biology was my original focus before computer science. And I just always loved working with other students, and sort of the behind the scenes parts of education. So when I had the opportunity to apply to be a TA here, I knew that was something I wanted to do. And pretty quickly after I applied, I knew that I eventually wanted to be a course coordinator. It was sort of a question of balancing when I applied for that with when course coordinators for the class that I worked with were graduating, because I knew I wanted to be a course coordinator for that topic in general. Um, but I really just loved working with other TAs, taking on like that leadership role and being able to support new TAs coming up and help train them, help them understand sort of their role, their position, and the different expectations on them. It's been a really, really amazing experience. And I've gotten to be very hands-on with the classes I've worked with, especially being able to be course coordinator for 144 and 244. The first semester that they were offered, Dr. Anson gave me a lot of flexibility to be really hands-on with designing course materials, making course management decisions, and classroom policies and things. So I got to really have a very active role in the instructional side of the course, which gave me a better idea of what life as a professor would really be like.
It's great. And so can you give me some information about what, in terms of when you said you had flexibility to implement some things for those new 144, 244 offerings? Can you tell me maybe like some of the things that you implemented that you think would help our students and help that course?
So actually for 144, Dr. Anson didn't really like the book questions in the textbook that we had. So all of the homeworks were written by myself and the other TAs. I was able to sort of distribute topics among the TAs, help them make sure they understood their topics really well. And then they would write questions that I would sort of check through, try to develop a cohesive assignment so it was balanced in terms of all the different topics that should be on it and the different point values that should be assigned to each one, and sort of figuring out what can I ask about this topic without spending too much time on this that I lose other topics, which topics are most important. Um, and then as a SI leader, so we do sections, supplemental instruction sessions for those classes, where we have extra review and then trying to balance sort of what should I prioritize talking about in SI, knowing that I know what will be on the homeworks and what will be on the assessments, but pretending I don't. What should I prioritize in SI to make sure the students have foundation and questions to practice on the whole range of topics and everything that might be important for them, not just in this course, but in future courses, whether material is relevant. I also got to have a lot of flexibility talking to Dr. Anson about sort of how are we going to grade different things on exams, what were the most important parts of each question, sort of what qualifies as like partial credit here, what constitutes showing you understand the topic even if your approach was wrong. It just gave me a lot more opportunity to dive into the material in a way that I never had before.
There's a lot that you just covered about what TAs do in our department and probably in other departments as well. Was there a particular aspect of TA that you enjoyed the most?
I think my favorite part of being a TA is actually hosting office hours and being able to work sort of one-on-one with the students, especially since we have our office hours at a specific time every single week. It's really common for certain students to become recurrent visitors at a specific TA's office hours, or SI sessions, and you get to sort of get to know a few students really well, and see them progress throughout the course, see them sort of master these different topics. And it's just a really amazing experience to watch a student like grow and progress as a computer science major throughout the course.
That's wonderful. So you've done research in a TA. You're also a College of Science ambassador. So tell us about your experience being a College of Science ambassador.
Being a College of Science ambassador is definitely not something I expected coming in to the program. I actually did not know it existed before I was encouraged to apply. Um, but it's been an amazing experience. I've done it for 3 years now. Um, and so it's given me a much better understanding of all the different resources in the college and the different majors that we offer. I definitely did not have a lot of experience with some of the majors coming into the program, but there's a group of students from all the different majors, and we come together and sort of share what our major is about, the things that we're involved in, and we learn from other students and other majors and what they've done. So I've gotten to hear about so many of my peers at the university and all the different things they do, like a physics student who studied the physics of fluid dynamics and blood flow in order to apply to med school, with that as their like primary research. And then a friend of mine in statistics and data science who uses her major to run analytics for the baseball team, and has worked with like professional scouts, and presents the team's data. So there are all these different opportunities and things people are involved in at the university that I had absolutely no knowledge of before this program. And I've gotten to learn about all those really cool things, which has been amazing. I also get to hang out with new prospective Wildcats all the time and tell them about what it's like to be a science student, to be involved in computer science, and to go to the University of Arizona, which has been a lot of fun. I've heard about so many different things that students are doing all around the country, and hearing all the things they're interested in and want to pursue in college has been really amazing.
It sounds like a great opportunity for those students to connect with experienced students like yourself and get a chance to start building their support network. So that's wonderful. So you recently received some great news. Can you share that with us, and what are you planning to do?
So I just recently got a Fulbright English teaching assistantship to Taiwan. So I will be spending 11 months, beginning in August, working as an English teaching assistant over in Taiwan. And then I'll be flying back at the end of the summer, in order to start my PhD in computer science here at U of A in fall 2024.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. What are you most looking forward to for that experience?
I think I'm most looking forward to experiencing a completely different culture and environment than I've ever seen before. I really love to travel, so I've been to a few different places in Europe and South and Central America, and I do study Spanish and Portuguese here at the university, but I have no experience with Mandarin. I have never been anywhere in Asia. So it will be a totally different linguistic and cultural experience for me. And I'm really excited to learn a lot while I'm there.
That's great. We're excited for you, Caroline. That's wonderful. You've had such a wonderful experience here at the university. I think one could easily argue you've taken advantage of all these great experiences and made the most out of your time here. Now that we're, at the end of the spring semester and we're going to be welcoming new students to in the fall, and during the summer we'll be doing orientations. We like to, tell our students about these wonderful experiences. What advice would you give an incoming student that's pursuing computer science at the University of Arizona?
I would probably say to get involved as early as you can and try to reach out to as many other students in the major as possible. I know it's cliche and everyone kind of says that, but I kept to myself quite a bit my first semester. I only joined a couple of things at the university, and then I really started branching out my second semester. And now looking back, the thing that I regret most is all the time I wasted my first semester only hanging out with like a few friends that I knew from my dorm, and staying pretty reserved, not getting as involved in the like, broader university community and the computer science department. I didn't really make friends in the computer science department until I became a TA and got to know more of the students. So 4 years does go by very quickly. Take that from a very sentimental senior who is graduating in just a couple of days. Um, but I mean, I'm going to be halfway around the world from most of my friends and my classmates in just a couple of months. So try to enjoy the time that you guys have being in one place all together as much as you can and do as much as you can with it.
That's great advice. Is there anything else you want our viewers or the audience to know?
Nothing I can think of, no.
All right. Well, thanks, Caroline. We appreciate you taking the time and sharing your experience and your words of wisdom and advice to our students. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.